All right, nobody has headphones because fuck it, right?
Just you.
Yeah.
Hey, don't put your big ass head in my frame.
That's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to make sure. You know.
I had to drive all the way here to be blocked by you.
I'm done with men blocking my shine. Okay.
This is gonna be a shit show.
Why?
Why is it good to be?
No, I'm saying in a
Like
good way.
what?
In a good way. In a good
I'm
way.
not even drunk.
I know, right? You should be
This is me sober.
It is Friday. It is Friday. It is Friday.
El cuerpo lo sabe.
All right, let's get
Ya
it.
saben.
All right, so welcome back to Hustle and Soul. We have a very special guest today. She is an LA icon, LA veteran. As much as she might not want to admit it, but you know, you've definitely heard her. You definitely seen her. It is the beautiful Ayydé.
Hi.
What's going on?
I am excited, a little nervous. I don't know why.
I don't know why you just pulled up.
I know.
She
We
thought-
should be nervous.
No, don't be nervous.
She pulled up to the unit or the complex
Oh my gosh.
next to ours, and it was a trailer park. And she's like, "Oh, these guys are really hustlers."
I was like, okay, hustle.
hustle is
I was
real.
like,
Okay,
I
the
should have
hustle's
told her
really
we're
real.
not in the trailer park. We're at the
I kind of
warehouse.
figured it's kind of like a trailer park landia, kind of like Disneyland. If you go through there, you're gonna see different objects. The trailers have been there for a long time, so
Yeah,
we're
you know.
gonna respect
Yes,
the trailers.
we are.
That was our old unit. We leveled up. We got this one now.
Okay, you know, baby steps, baby steps.
You know,
baby
we're actually
steps.
we're moving on up. But thank you for joining us. This is going to be a very special episode.
Thank you for having me.
Ayydé, if you don't know, is very well known in the LA industry, right? Especially in entertainment.
So you tell me.
You tell me.
She's being very humble right now.
You tell me.
Yeah,
She's being very humble.
Am I?
If you've been in the music scene, you definitely have heard of her. You've heard her voice on radio. So yeah, tell us a little about yourself and where you started.
Where do you want me to start? Are you talking about life start, career start?
so.
It's a long story.
It is. So with us
story.
at Hustle and Soul, we usually like to, bring on people within our community. Obviously, you have a Hispanic background. You are from Mexico, right? Are you from Mexico?
My parents are from Mexico.
Yeah.
I was born here, so Mexicana Americana.
So we like to highlight people that look like us, basically. I think there's definitely a gap with that, especially online on YouTube. You know, a lot of people, you don't really see people that look like us that grew up in our communities, kind of doing big things, which I think you have been doing for a long time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to chime in a little bit too because so quick backstory. I've listened to you obviously on the radio, so I know you. I kind of know your story. I was telling Barry like I think I know her story and like a little bit about her life because you're very open about that, which is very inspiring to other people who can relate to you and have gone to through similar obstacles or life journeys as you. So quick story. You posted about needing an editor.
Yes.
So I was actually the one who sent it to Barry.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you should hit her up and help her edit some videos. So then that's kind of how this little world connected too.
Look at that 360 right there.
So I posted that she needed an editor for some videos. I think you were starting
for my cooking shows, just starting it.
And I was into like editing videos for ourselves, for our YouTube, for our travel stuff, just for fun. And I was like, fuck it, let me just. Why not? And then she replied, and I was like, "Oh shit! All right, let's go."
Yeah, and we connected off the jump because we had this conversation about our dreams and how we're hustling and trying to make it. And we had like this very candid conversation, really. That I told him, I was like, "Look, B, like I don't have money to give you right now," and he just right off the bat, he's like, "I'm good with it. Like let's just work together." And thank you so much for that. Like honestly, thank you both for that and for having me here.
And another thing, I specifically wanted you on the podcast too because I remember he came home that day after having had the conversation with you and he was like, she reminds me like a lot of you. She's like, she's a Latina, she's a hustler, like she wants to be like the next Cristina, and I found that very inspiring. And I know for a lot of people like me, like I know they would want to hear your story.
Well then let's get started because it's a long ass story. I'm first generation Mexican American. Both of my parents were from Michoacan, and I'm saying were because by the time I was 13, both of my parents had passed away. My father was murdered when I was 8. Actually, on my way here, I was calling the detective because I never found out like who killed him. I have a little bit of the story of like what went on, but it's the weirdest thing. It's been 25 years and I want some type of closure. Like I need to know. Like I was 8 and I've heard parts of this story, but I want the full story. And I've been chasing this detective. Mind you, this case happened in 96. So
this was here in LA or in Mexico?
It happened up north and Delhi. It's this little town up north, like near Turlock, Modesto, Merced, that area. And so I called him and I was like, like I was 8 and I need to know. He's like, do you want details? I'm not trying to see pictures because I know that he was like, there were a lot of shots. Like I don't remember, but if I'm correct, I know he got shot over 20 times. Like they murdered him. Like it. And so I want that, you know, and the part of me, I'm like, do you really want that? Like, what do you want that for? Right. What is that going to help?
I think nobody can understand it until you're in that position.
I need it. Yeah. I don't know why. I need it. Right. And then I believe it was like 5 years later, my mom passed away from cancer. Okay. And that was very, very hard and difficult for me because I have 3 brothers and I'm the only girl, and I was extremely close to my mother. Like, she was my best friend. And it's crazy now, you know, we were having this conversation off mic before, that now as an adult, I completely understand as a mother and as a woman why my mom was so overprotective. Yeah. You know, in that moment, me enojaba because I was like, déjame irme con mis primas. We'd be like, okay, ¿quién le va a preguntar? Yes. You know, like when you already know the answer is going to be like, no. Even in my own family, you know, like, why isn't my mom letting me go spend the night there? And it was like this big ordeal. But now as an adult, I'm like, oh, like I get it. I respect that. You know, there's so many things, you know, that I'm realizing, and that's just like one little part. But going through, it's going to be 20 years actually, October 1st, since my mom passed away, and I've gone through a lot of ups and downs. Okay, like that is something that's been extremely, extremely difficult, that a lot of people often don't know about me, because I guess the way that I carry myself, and
you're always very positive, very bubbly, like as if nothing's ever bothered you.
And a badass.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, like I go through a lot of dark times, you know, that I don't share, and I owe it all to my mother. Really, like my resiliency. When she passed away, I just early on decided that I was going to turn that pain into my strength. Mm-hmm. And it was all because my mom didn't come here and sacrifice everything that she did in vain. Right. She came here so that we can live the American dream, and us being born here was so that we could reach our full potential, you know. And even so, living that American dream, like even being born here, things are not just given to us. Right. Yeah. You know, like we don't have it easy. Like I wasn't born with a silver spoon and, you know, the platter for me, which is fine because it's taught me to hustle. And my mom taught me that. My father taught me that. And so I said, I can go one or two ways. You know, I could go downward spiral or I'm going to go up, and I'm going to choose to go up because I want to show this woman that she raised a great woman, you know, that she taught me well. And I am so grateful and I am so incredibly blessed that, you know, while a lot of people might be like, ay, pobrecita, like I feel bad for you, you know, like you lost your mom at 13. Well, I don't, because I feel that everything in life happens for a reason. Sometimes you don't find out why that is, but you do have to just accept and move along and let life be, because I do believe in a higher power. And there is a purpose, right? There is a reason why everything happens. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't want my mom here, but I am saying that for those short 13 years that I did have my mother, that woman equipped me with so much. And the main thing being just el amor eternal, el amor, unconditional love. How do you say unconditional in Spanish? Incondicional.
Amor. Incondicional.
Are you guys just saying yes? You don't even know.
I would take amor eterno.
That's what I'm thinking about, right? Like, okay, so that song Forever Now has
I can't
a deeper. Listen, it is. I've cried so many times to it. Time. If we play Eterno, voy a empezar a chillar. No la pongas porque lloro. Don't do it, B.
Put it in post.
But it really is, you know, que yo supe lo que es ser amada, lo que es el amor, and therefore I can give it because I received it. Like, and there's so many people that are alive now along with their parents, whether it be their mom or their dad, whoever it may be, that do not have those relationships, that do not appreciate their parents. And that's fine. You know, like you can't expect the same relationship that you had with someone to be the same thing for other people, because everybody's situation is absolutely different. When all of that happened, this is the weirdest part, is that I have a lot of family here. Tengo muchas tías. and I have a madrina and a padrino, but I didn't go live with my family. Okay. When I was in middle school, I was just like this rambunctious little girl. Like I've always been loud as hell. Right. And I grew up in the east side of Long Beach, and I'm only putting this into context because it was crazy growing up there, okay? Right. I've always been very tiny, like this tiny little thing. But again, I grew up with 3 boys, okay? So the cattiness, like I didn't go through that. Like I didn't do that type of stuff. And when I went to middle school, a lot of girls tried to try me. And so when Susan met me, the only reason why I'm telling you guys this is because I was like running through the office, and I think I had just gotten in a fight or something or in trouble. And so she asked the attendance clerk about me. Now, the attendance clerk was a young Latina named Carla that I used to work for. That was like office aide or whatever. And I was really close to her just because, like you guys said, why you have me here, right? Because I look like y'all. And so that's why I was close to her, because she looked like me. And she just felt like family. I'm like, like, let me go under your wing. Let me go in here. So Susan is white. And Susan asked Carla about me. She's like, who is that little girl? Like, le llamé la atención. Entonces, Carla le dijo, like, that's Ayydé, you know, she's a good girl. She's just going through a lot with her mom right now, you know? And I believe this was by 7th grade that Susan started working at my middle school. As she asked her, you know, like, who is this little girl? And then one day, I was running through the office. I just got in a fight, and Susan grabs me in the hallway. I think I was on the way to like OCS or detention, whatever they used to call it. And I was with like the campus security guard and
being escorted.
Right, being escorted. And Susan grabs me by the face. She's like, you're too beautiful. You shouldn't be fighting. And in my head, I'm like, the fuck does she know? Beautiful? Like, ain't nobody caring about beautiful here. Like, nobody cares about beauty. Like, what? I'm trying to survive in these streets. It's real out here. Like, what do you mean? Like, there was such a big disconnect. Huge disconnect. Obviously, like, her heart and her intentions were in the absolute right place. But my head was like, this white lady don't know shit. Like, she don't know nothing. And she's like, if you ever need anything, and she let me know that her mom passed away from cancer when she was 13. So when she said that, I was like, oh, she talked to Carla. All right, bet. And in my head still, I was like, what could she possibly ever do for me? Fast forward, this was later in the school year. My mom was going through chemo and radiation, and I wanted to stay home so bad that day. Y mi mamá no me dejó. She's like, te vas a la escuela. I'm like, who's going to go with you? Like, I really wanted to go with my mom. She just wasn't good that day. Like, I remember we were having some issues with my brother the previous day, and I just really wanted to be with my mom. So I went to school, and I remember being in like my English class or something, and I was tripping. I was just crying because I just did not want to be there. Mind you that my middle school was like walking distance, like blocks from home. So I could have really just walked out that school if I wanted to, because there's nothing stopping me, and gone. But I was like, let me do this the right way. I've already had a lot of suspensions this year. Like, let me do right. So I went to my counselor, because my counselor usually would let me go home. But she wasn't there that day. So Susan saw me crying, and she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I really want to go home. My mom is super sick, and I just want to be with my mom. And she's like, don't worry, honey. Miss Issa, and Miss Issa was our principal, is my really good friend. I'm going to go ask her if I could take you home. Wow. I was like, all right, bet. Like, do what you got to do. Pull the strings, lady. Do what you got to do. Take me home. Take me home, because I'm about to walk out. So, she went. She asked Miss Issa. They called my mom, and my mom was like, bring her home. Like, it's fine. Bring her home. So, we went to my house. She met my mom, and the rest was history. They pretty much became BFFs. All along, my mom knew what she was doing, by the way. I didn't.
Do you think you were too young to like realize?
It wasn't that I was too young. I just didn't know my mom was going to pass away. It wasn't that I was too young. I felt something weird, because I've always been very aware. But she was like pushing me on to Susan and her family. So Susan became, to me, in my head, like a mentor, and they've always been very welcoming. And she has a husband named Clyde, and he is Japanese, and a son named Adam, and a son named Mark, and they have become my brothers, and he has become my father, because they are my family. So fast forward, my mom pushed me onto them, and I would go to the zoo with Susan, go here with Susan, go spend the night at Susan's house. So I'm like, yo, my mama never let me go spend the night at nobody's house.
All of a
sudden, you want to let me go spend the night at Susan and Clyde's. Like, this is weird. Yeah. Really, really weird. Like, this isn't what my mom does.
So do you think you couldn't really enjoy it at the time because you felt like it was...
No, because it felt different. It felt weird. I felt like I was being set up. As a matter of fact, Susan and I had a early headbutting. I don't know. Mm-hmm. We kind of went against each other because Susan took me to the mall, and we were at Limited 2. Of all places, right? And she was just like, oh, what about this? Like picking a ton of clothes. Okay, she had like a pile of clothes. Yeah. She's like, well, I want to buy it for you. And we were at the register. I'm not joking. It was either there or like Macy's or something. And she was just trying to buy me a bunch of stuff that I wasn't with because my mom couldn't afford that. You know, like I was getting things from thrift shops, from yard sales, hand-me-downs. And every now and then, if I would get lucky, like I would get new clothes. We would go to this lady named Doña Adela, and Doña Adela slayed clothes from her trunk. Then she upgraded to her garage. All my family last were like, yeah, when we got our little clean fits from Doña Adela, we thought we was popping.
I kid you not, my grandma did that. I used to buy all my polos. I had like Tommy Hilfiger polos in middle school because she would sell them from her trunk.
You know they weren't real. Shut up.
Yes, I bought them. She told me they were real.
She said they were real. They were real.
If grandma said they were real, then they were real. So when Susan was trying to buy me all that clothes, I was like, I don't want it.
It's not wrong, right?
I told her, I was like, I don't want it. These were our first disconnects, you know, the differences that we would come to learn to adjust and accept in one another. Unfortunately, my mom got the news, you know, cancer went away for not even a solid year. And then out of nowhere, it just came back and it was terminal. Mind you that when they discovered the cancer in my mom, it was already at a really late stage. I think it was 3. There's only 4 stages in cancer for people that don't know. Yeah. So unfortunately, my mom passed away. And when she was told that she only had a month left to live, I remember this too, as clear as day. My mom was like, vamos a ir a la casa de Susan and Clyde. And I was like, ¿para qué? Para qué, for what? Why? So we get there and Susan and Clyde have breakfast for us. And they're like, oh, go play on the computer. And they were having their conversation. And I was like, I ain't got nothing to play on this computer with Minecraft. What am I doing on here? And so then they're like, okay, come over here. And we sit down on the couch and Susan and Clyde are right there. My mom is next to me. And they're like, my mom's like, ¿Quieres, legit like this, ¿Quieres vivir con Susan y Clyde? And I was like, no. What do you mean? No. Yeah. I knew what she meant, by the way. I knew what she meant. I knew what was happening because by then we kind of already knew my mom only had a month left to live.
I think you saying that initial no wasn't necessarily because you don't want to live with Clyde and
you don't want to.
How do you say yes to that?
You don't want to accept what's happening.
How can you accept that, right? At that age, how was I supposed to accept that? My mom is all I had. My mom was my rock. My mom was my best friend. Yeah. She was our mother, our protector, our giver, everything. To me and my 3 brothers, what do you mean? Do you want to go live with 2 people that are not your family, that is not your mom? When she was passing away, I remember we had her in the house, and then it got to the point where it's she needs to go to the hospital or she's going to pass away here at the house. So she was in the hospital, and the social worker came through, and I have a younger brother, and he's only a year younger than me. But I've always been my brother's keeper, always. I used to fight for him. He would come home and crying, and I'm like, whose ass do I need to go beat? When we were at the hospital and the social worker was there, she's like, do you want to go live with Susan and Clyde? And I already knew my brother was frightened. He is from a different dad. So his dad was still alive, but he didn't really grow up with his dad. We were all his, protectors. And not only was he going to lose his mom, but he was going to lose his protection, his family, his tribe, And so I was like, I don't want to go live with Susan and Clyde. Actually, you can take me into a foster home and put me where I can be with my younger brother. Put us together. Like, I had already talked to Salvador. I was like, I'm not going to let you like go on your own. Like, we're going to do this together. Like, don't trip. I don't care if we have to go to a foster home, and I will fight everybody. Like, as long as I can protect you, I'm going to do that. We ended up getting separated because the social worker, when we had the conversation again with my mom, and now my mom is on her deathbed, my mom was like, por favor, Ayydé, no compliques las cosas. And so I was like, damn. Fuck. Oh you know, she's like, yo me quiero ir en paz. And so I couldn't fight that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I couldn't fight that at that moment. And it sucked. Being separated from my little brother has been the most complicated till this day. It's been the most complicated thing. And mind you, like I'm saying, he's only a year younger than me. But I knew how much he needed us. And to this very day, I see those ramifications, or the domino effect of how my mom passing affected each and every one of us. Yeah. And everybody takes death differently. And I say this because I see it in each and every one of my brothers, that though we grew up in the same household, we are all very, very, very different. And so when my brothers are going through things, like, that's what hurts me. That's what hurts me the most, because
you see where it stems from.
I see where it stems from. But there is just like this really, like, not to go off track, but there's like this higher like collective healing that is happening and shift in this world right now that is like so refreshing. And that no matter how many conversations I've had, I do my best to share like what these like visions or awakenings are, or higher risings are that I've had and experiences with my brothers, so that they can tap into that. But again, everybody processes and everybody moves differently, you know? And it's going to be 20 years, like I said earlier, since my mom passed away, but they have been the longest 20 years of my life.
We got to take a brief little pause, you know, as you can imagine. But I think with all that being said, I mean, you've gone through so many traumatic experiences as a kid, as an adult, and
that's
all
not
these,
even the half.
I can imagine. Yeah, I mean,
no, yeah, we can only imagine.
I think, originally when we planned this conversation, I think it was more of like your career and how it shifted, but I think it's become a bigger conversation as to how you've taken these lowest of lows and turned them into positives and motivation and driving forces to be where you are today, the person you are, not necessarily in the businesswoman, but more of like individual you are. Like, how have you taken those? I can't even explain like how horrendous those acts can have been for you growing up. How have you been able to manage and remain this positive, remain this driven, remain this motivated, and help others do the same thing?
Well, my big rule in life, it's like, even like, for example, like cuando vas a ir a comer, right? And you go out to eat and you have a server and they're like in this horrible mood.
You can feel it.
You can feel it, and I don't like that. And I've always said that lo que me está pasando a mí no es culpa de nadie más, right? Y mi mamá siempre me dijo que la gente nunca a lo mejor se les va a olvidar tu nombre, pero jamás van a olvidar cómo los hiciste sentir. They're never going to forget how you made them feel, whatever it is, even like the smallest thing, right? And so I feel like there's already so many like negative things out in the world. Like, why am I gonna be another negative factor here? Like, I want to be positive, you know. And even if I'm going through a really hard time or whatever it is, that's nobody else's fault, you know. So I try to release that type of energy. My biggest desire one day is to be a mom, and if I could be half of the woman that my mom was, you know, like, damn, like, this is it. But the thing is too that like now I have different tools that my mom didn't have. I have so many more opportunities and doors that my mom did not have. That's what keeps me moving, is that I want to be the example. I want to break barriers. I want to break cycles. I want to get us to think about different things. I want to talk about mental health, you know, and what it's like to really sit with a therapist or sit with somebody and talk about your childhood trauma. Those things exist, and breaking generational cycles that need to be broken, because if they're not broken, we're just going to keep recycling these toxic cycles that are not helping us grow. I have to keep in mind that the same kids that are listening to me are my nieces and my nephews. So if little soul is listening to Ayydé or watching me on TV, that I can be an example that you as parents don't feel uncomfortable with your daughter sitting and listening to me, right? That I that's what I've set out for, that I want to be that change. I want to be someone that, I'm not necessarily saying a role model, but somebody that causes change. And I'm a firm believer that anything done with like hard work, sacrifice, and of course talent to match behind it can be accomplished. I was the first in my family to go to a university. I went to San Diego State, and I partied my ass off. That's what I did at San Diego State.
Yeah, I think
I partied and I didn't finish. I had always thought that I was going to be an attorney, because we want to sit here and debate. Let's do it. If I know what I'm arguing about, I'm going to make you believe
even that I'm wrong,
that I'm right. That I'm right. Even though I'm wrong, I'm going to be right, you know? I took my first crim class at San Diego State, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? I was like, I got into interior design because I was like, I love this, you know, like I love textures, I love fabrics, I love lighting, I just love a nice interior, like the aesthetics of it. Again, like life forced me to keep going back to Long Beach, and without like going to anybody and consulting them, like, hey, what do you think about this? You know, some adults. I was like, nah, I'm gonna make my own decisions. I emptied out my apartment. I told them I'm leaving, and I grabbed my things, I packed my stuff, and I went to LB. And when I was there, I'm like, okay, well, this was a cute little break. Well, now what I'm gonna do? So I was like, interior design. And I'm gonna share this story because I want whoever is listening to avoid this at all costs. I was like, okay, interior design queen, let's go to FITM. They're like, okay, well, to get in,
it's like $1 million.
You have to do this project. And based on the project, you know, like you give us this vision board, whatever this project is for interior design, we'll tell you if you can get in or not. Congratulations, you have been accepted. Well, one semester was $30,000. Here I go getting into loans. Mind you, that I had a full ride at San Diego State. Full ride. I didn't need to go to FITM to try and figure out my interior design dreams. You can get the same education, if not better, at a city or a community college. Like,
we talk about this all the time.
I wish I would have done that. And that's what ended up happening. That's how I got into radio. That, you know, on this back and forth of trial and error of what I wanted to do. I knew I always wanted to be in school. I went back to school, and this time around, my little bougie ass didn't want to go to Long Beach City College. I didn't want to, because I was like, I'm too good for that. I went to San Diego State. I'd want to be there with all of my old classmates. Like, I'm not trying to see them, all this stuff.
Okay, Arlene.
Okay, well, the funny thing is that all of my classmates had already moved on. Graduated.
By the time you're fucking around,
you know, and here I am trying to still figure out life with a little bougie ass. Like, haha, they're not even here, so joke's on you. Yeah, I went into my first class. It was like intro, whatever it was, to careers and broadcasting and journalism, and I fell in love. I was like, here I'm gonna be able to be me and say what I want to say, have that freedom, you know, and not be worried about people saying, oh, she looks weird, or whatever, or whatever the case, you know. And I love music. I love talking, obviously. So I got into my little radio show at school. Honestly,
this was at Long Beach City?
Long Beach City. Okay. I think it was called KLBC. But literally, you have to be from here to that door right there. It's in the parking lot. So you can hear. This is how Big Boy starts to play a role in my life. I went to a Lakers game. It was Lakers versus the Heat. So it was LeBron versus Kobe. I grew up like everybody in LA listening to Big Boy's Neighborhood early in the morning. Those were my morning rituals. I was laughing. I knew nobody else that could make me laugh like Big Boy. I've never seen this man in the flesh. Walking out, drying my hands, I was like, oh shit, that's Big Boy. When I said that, he heard me and he stopped. He's like, hey, little mama. I was like, Big Boy. Like, I was so excited. I was so excited just to meet him, because he did, like, he felt like family from listening to him. And I was just ecstatic, because this was someone that I looked up to. Because at this point, choo-choo!
The train.
Go on, right on the train.
The fucking ghetto.
But yeah, I was shocked that he stopped. And he's like, what's up, little mama? I was like, I can't believe like you're in front of me. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I know that you're here at the game, you're with your son, but can I just get like 2 seconds? Can you tell me, how do I get into radio? Like, I want to work with you.
It's dope because most people would be like, can't get a picture.
Yeah. Nah, hell no, I didn't want no picture. I wanted a job.
Right, exactly.
I wanted a job. I wanted to be on air in LA working with Big Boy. And I wasn't about to waste that opportunity. So he was just like, yo, he's like, I love your energy. He's like, what's your name? I was like, Ayydé. He's like, I love that name because his mom's name is Ayda. So he's Ayda's son. So he's like, listen, take down this number. He gave me his card. He's like, call that number, talk to my assistant, and let's schedule a time for you to come into the studio. I was like, shut up. I was like, really? I was like, crazy. Thank you so much. Like, this is the best birthday gift. Right. Like, it was amazing. And then in my head, I was like, that man ain't never gonna get me in that studio, like never. So here I go a week after, and I'm calling this number, and this lady picks up. Her name is Now. What up, Now? That was Big's assistant. And I was like, hey, like, I met Big Boy, and he told me that I can come into the studio. So can we like set this up? And yeah, we set it up. I went into the studio, but I didn't start working with Big right then and there. Like, how life continued to bring us back in each other's lives was crazy. It is the weirdest thing, and I'm sharing my testimony because when I tell you that without even realizing things are being answered for me was so crazy. Hasta me da like chills thinking about it. Yeah. How without me figuring this out, it was being figured out for me. Yeah. And a friend of mine hit me up. He's like, yo, Ayydé, like, we have spaces, you know. At that moment, iHeart was Clear Channel. My friend Oscar Abundes, I went to high school with him, and I had ran into him at like Macy's or something, and I had told him, like, you know, I'm looking for a job, and I knew he was at Clear Channel. He's like, all right, like, I'll let you know. Well, he hit me up one day. He's like, well, we have spots right now for our street team. He's like, it's gonna be like a downgrade for you because you've already experienced this side, and also in pay. You know, I was like, I don't care. And that's all I wanted is the opportunity to learn, you know, so that I could grow, because I knew I would. I knew I would. I knew that I would hustle. I knew that I would work my ass off, as I had already, to get through the door. And while I was there, to get to where I needed, my end goal being on that mic. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna switch our oldies station to hip hop and R&B. I was like, you're not even connecting the dots, okay?
Yeah.
I was like, hip hop and R&B, yes, bitch. Like, this is my opportunity. Right. That is me all the way. It's me. And then the little rumor started. Oh, they're saying they're gonna bring Big Boy. I said, what? And that energy in that building was through the roof.
I remember that. I think my buddy Skills DJ, he worked at Power, and he told me like it was fucking weird. Like, everybody was just like, doesn't know what's going on, who has a job, like.
Oh, for us in that building was amazing. So I hit him up. I was like, Big, are you coming here? Yeah. And I went and auditioned for Big Boy's Neighborhood, and I did not get the spot.
Okay.
Because I still wasn't ready. I didn't get to be a part of Big Boy's Neighborhood until a year after the fact.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I got the call. They're like, hey, like, do you want to join the neighborhood?
Your numbers up.
And I was like, yes, I do want to join the neighborhood. 6 years. I did it for 6 years. And throughout those 6 years, I learned so much of myself, and it has been the most beautiful blessing and experience of my life, because I know exactly who I am, what I want, what I stand for, and I just know that what is coming next is even better. And I'm so excited. I'm really, really excited for it to happen.
I want to, every time we have someone on here, we ask them, like, what is your biggest advice, especially for people who are trying to do the same things that you are? So you've had a crazy ass journey.
So
you've
crazy.
been through so much.
We need like a whole year of
just sitting here.
Just sitting here. Sorry, y'all.
No, but
this is why you need your own podcast.
I know. Yes. If I could get paid for the amount of times people have been asking for a podcast.
But I think for a lot of people, especially that have been through things like you, they don't always have that force or that power to be able to lift themselves up and push through. So if you can give like a couple of words of advice, like directly to those people, what would you say?
Why am I looking at Barry? Like, Barry, this is my advice. The most important advice that I would give you is don't give up on your dreams. And not just what I'm doing, like no matter what it is that you want to do in life, if you want to be a banker, if you want to be a real estate agent, if you want to be a mom, if you want to be a nurse, a cop, whatever it may be that you want to do, work your ass off.
Yes.
Work your ass off and believe in yourself. And the sooner and the earlier that you can get into that field, do it. Start it. Don't waste your time at McDonald's when you want to be a nurse. No, go try to find those jobs. And I know it's probably easier said than done, but go. And I'm just giving you that advice because I know that there's so many people that are so unhappy. There's nothing wrong with working at I was a waitress myself, but I just feel like you're wasting those hours somewhere where you could go and invest the hours that are going to help you grow and get you towards your ultimate goal. And most of all, believe in yourself, truly believe in that journey. Like figure out what it is that you want. And when you know, when you get that insight of what it is that you want, pursue it relentlessly, but truly believe in yourself, because no one ever in life is going to be able to believe in you and your dream if you do not start with believing in yourself. Facts. And that's really, really, really hard for us to do sometimes because we are like our harshest critics and doubters and naysayers and all of these things. But when you are unkind and unloving to your own self, you cannot go and pour that out elsewhere. And it's really, really important to start with yourself first, like a full-on 360. Like give yourself all that love, give yourself all the time and the energy, invest in yourself, invest in your dreams, and keep pushing forward. And also be very careful of who and how you treat people, because you never know. Life is very short. Also, this world is really small. And the person that you think, oh, well, they're just picking up trash, that could become your boss one day. And you will sell yourself short of a job. So just carry yourself with, respect, love, and grace. And I think that it will be returned to you. Yeah. The right people will be in your corner. And most importantly, you're in your own corner. So you can't fail. You really can't. Like, again, that work ethic, if you put in the hours, them 10,000 hours,
you become an expert.
You will become an expert. You really will become an expert. So yeah, that's, I guess, my best advice. Like, don't give up. Don't give up no matter what, Sígale echándole ganas. Y esas pilas, préndelas todos los días. Honestly, because every single day that you get on this earth, every single day that you have the opportunity to wake up, no matter what is going on in your life, if you get that blessing to wake up and see another day,
take advantage.
Take advantage of it. You are so incredibly blessed. Yeah, you are so incredibly blessed, and everything's going to be okay. Yes.
And on that topic, I know you mentioned having self-doubt or being your biggest critic. For me, I work in entertainment as well. It's not in the public eye. It's more like behind the scenes. But it's very easy for myself, and I know other people, to get discouraged, be your toughest critic, and have a lot of self-doubt and not have that, what's the word? Like, not be confident. It's very easy to not be confident and to sometimes shy away from opportunities because of all those things and you kind of like clouding yourself. So how do you overcome that? And have there been instances where you feel like you're overshadowed or like you can't do certain things?
I'm holding myself back. Yes.
Have you not learned Ayydé is always right?
No, yeah, she's always right.
I'm always right in this too. That I've gone through those moments.
Yeah, and I know
for a very long time.
Everybody, it happens to everyone, especially being a woman. And there's like a double ladder to climb because of that.
Yeah, it's harder for us as women because I feel like we have a whole lot more to deal with. Like, this is not like a diss to men, but we just do. We have a whole lot more to deal with. That's why when we shine and we overcome these things, we're like badasses. Like, we just are, we are superior to men. Sorry, Barry.
I'm trying to kick out Barry.
I'm so sorry. Because we really do go through so much. Like I'm not to discredit a man, but there's just
and he's great. Like, he's like one of the good ones.
I've seen her give birth. There's nothing I can do to top that.
You cannot do that.
She's up there.
So I had a lot of moments of doubt, even from the beginning of my career. When I had that first call to be a part of the neighborhood, I got scared. I was like, oh damn, like I felt like this weird sensation in my gut. I was scared because I was like, what if people don't like me? What if people don't like my voice? Because I've always had like this deep, little, raspy ass voice that I got made fun of when I was little. So I was like, what if they hate my voice, how I sound, or what I'm saying, you know?
It's so crazy because it's like the littlest things, like
things that nobody
probably
really
no one notices,
and then,
things up that make you so self-conscious.
What made it even worse is that when it was my time, there were cameras. There was social media now. You know, you're not just a radio personality now. You have to be on Instagram and Twitter and all of that.
Look the part.
You have to also
live the part.
Yes, all of that. And I think what helped me get over that is that I knew that. I had talked to myself and I knew that there's a lot of power behind the mic, and I took it with great responsibility. At least I did to my best ability. I can sit here and say that wholeheartedly, that I said, listen, when I crack open that mic, yes, I'm going to be talking about, you know, gossip and news and media, but I'm going to try to do it as responsibly as I possibly can. Also, anybody that knows me and heard me on Real 92.3 as part as Big Boys Neighborhood, Ayydé being on there.
You had the deep roles. Like I remember your conversations with your Nipsey Hussle interview, and like the questions you ask were always a little bit different. And I admire that, because that's what we're trying to do. And that's like, okay, like, yes, you're this cool celebrity, but tell us the real you. Like tell us what you've been through and how you inspire people.
It was so important for me to keep that. You know, I said, you know, these are my principles and my morals, and I want to make this happen the right way, you know? And from like the love that I get back, for me, it's never been like when people geek out when they see me on the street. I don't consider myself a celebrity, but it's never been about like them geeking out on meeting me, but it's been what they've said that I've just been like, I know that I did my job right, that I've served my purpose because of what I get back. Thank you for being a voice for our community, our community being Latinos, but also the Black community, because I grew up in a predominantly Black and brown community, and both of those communities are very near and dear to my heart, and I will always set out to serve them the best I can. And then another moment that I had, which was a really long moment, was with my cooking show. For the longest, I had this idea of my cooking show before all of these chefs are popping off and all of these TikTokers and all these YouTubers, like way before that. But I held myself back because I was really nervous. I was like, but this is like full on the camera. Like this is just that. And todos los nervios, all of the doubts came into me, and it took me years. I think that it took me like 4 years to finally pull the trigger and be like, okay, no, you are who you are, and you're going to be fine whether people like you or not. And I heard my mom's voice in my head, because she would always tell me que si tú nunca va a haber un momento donde vas a satisfacer a toda la gente. Hay una gente que no te va a querer tragar. Simplemente, you know. And then there's this quote like, you could be the ripest, juiciest peach, but still people don't like peaches, you know. So I'm like, yeah, I'm a juicy, ripe peach, and if you don't like me, you ain't gotta have me. I'm meant for you, cool, all right, whatever. Maybe you like bananas or whatever, and I'm a juicy peach, so you ain't supposed to have me anyway. And I think that once I just got it going, and that's another, you know, message, just do it. Just start and let it be whatever it's gonna be, and whoever doesn't like you isn't gonna like you. And listen, misery loves company, so all these people on, you know, their phones, it's easy to do this. It's much harder. I bet ain't none of y'all gonna say that to my face.
Facts.
I bet you're not going to say it to my face. So, you know, I'm not taking it personal no more. I wish you all love and light, you know, and I really do not get negative comments. I don't. I think that for me, it's like going back to like now, like, oh, I have this. Oh, my chin looks fat here. Oh no, like these lines. I don't like how I smiled.
It's more you being critical took on yourself.
Yeah.
Weird, like just weird. But you know, I've just been getting nothing but love, like nothing but love. And I'm really excited for whatever it is that it's to come. And that is when I become the Latina Oprah.
Yes.
You know, y'all gonna be watching me because I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make it happen, and I'm super excited for it.
We're gonna watch it happen.
Yeah. Thank you. And then Little Baby Soul's gonna come out. Yeah. I'm mad at both of them because they have the most gorgeous little doll of a baby girl, and I haven't met her. I've only seen her virtually. Yeah. So I thought I was, gonna.
When you set up that cooked dinner for us, we'll bring her. Don't
so we'll be there. Yeah.
She's gonna have some enchiladas. All right, done deal.
Likes to eat.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
for having me. Thank you guys so much. I'm so proud of you both, and I can't wait to see what magic you continue to create.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So once again, thank you guys for tuning in Hustle and Soul. Ayydé, please let them know where to find you.
You can find me on Instagrams, not Twitter, because I got banned, got suspended because I posted a video of Los Bukis, and it got I don't even know. It was like the highest engagement I've ever had. By the way, I'm so excited for that reunion. I took them tickets. But yeah, so then they suspended me. But you can find me on YouTube on my cooking show, Cooking It with Ayydé, and on my Instagrams. And whenever my Twitter gets back is Ayydé all day, and it's spelled IDAY LLDAY. Ayydé all day.
All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in this Hustle and Soul episode. I don't know what number, but this is an amazing conversation. Thank you, Ayydé, for coming by.
And being so vulnerable and real and sharing your story.
If I cried ugly, y'all better edit that.
We're going to make that the thumbnail. All right, thank you guys. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
Bye.